were speaking about direct and indirect speech in a previous video. So in the present video also we are going to continue the concept. In my previous video I had talked about the rule, in general introduction about direct and indirect speech. So you can go to that video and just see about it. In the present video we are going to deal with the important concept as how the direct and indirect speech is actually dealt, or how we have to understand the direct and indirect speech. Many of the students find it difficult to remember the concept, as they do not directly understand the rules of direct and indirect speech, and they just bluntly directly move on, or what we can use a phrase, jump into the concept. So without jumping into the concept, let us understand the concept of direct and indirect speech with the help of the rules. So these rules are very helpful, or you may call it handy, in order to make the concept of direct and indirect speech easier. So without wasting any time, let us now move on to the rules of direct and indirect speech. So there are two examples here. So in order to understand the rules, I have just given two examples here. DS means D for direct, S for speech. So this is the short form of direct speech. IDS means I for in, D for direct, S for speech, indirect speech. This is the short form. Now I have taken an example. Mohan said, I am busy now. You need to understand that inverted comma plays a vital role in the direct speech. So there may be an inverted comma, there may not be an inverted comma in the direct speech. However, if there is an inverted comma in the direct speech, in the indirect speech you are supposed to remove the comma as well as the inverted comma. So this is the first rule. The rules of direct and indirect speech is, first rule is remove the commas and inverted commas. So as you can see here, this is the comma, and this is the inverted comma. So in the indirect speech it is supposed to be removed. So clear? Remove the commas and inverted commas. Suppose they have not given the commas and inverted commas, then don't worry. So this inverted comma is referred as quotation speech. Quotation. They have quoted, isn't it? So this is called as quotation speech. Suppose they have removed the commas and inverted commas. Suppose they have removed the inverted commas. Then it is called what it is called? It is called a statement or a speech. So script writing. It is called script writing. Now this is called quotation or quoted writing. Without inverted comma, if they give in direct speech, it is called as script writing. So whatever it may be, if they have given an inverted comma, remove that in indirect speech. If they have not given, there is no issue at all. So you can just proceed with the sentence. This is the first rule. I hope it is clear. Now let us move on to the next rule. Add a conjunction. I need to give a specification here, because the word called said is not a conjunction. It is a verb. Then why have I used the word as conjunction? I may use it also as a verb. So it is either called as a verb or the conjunction. Why it is called verb? Because this word, or why it is called a conjunction? Because this word is linking two words together. So this is a connecting word here. The verb acts as a conjunction here. Fine. Add a conjunction or verb. Conjunction Why I have used a conjunction? It is not said is not a conjunction, but it is an implied conjunction. That means it is connecting one word with the another. It is as a bridge here. It is used as a bridge here. Fine. So in this rule number 2, we have sub rules. So what is the first rule? Assertive sentence. Suppose if the sentence is positive. See, I am busy now. This is a positive sentence. Suppose if there was I was not busy, that would be the negative sentence, isn't it? So they are asking you to look at the form of the sentence used here. I am busy now is a simple sentence and it is in the positive order. So it is called positive sentence. Okay, so if the sentence is positive, we are supposed to use said and told, or said or told. So Mohan said or Mohan told. Instead of said, I can also use told. So there is no issue at all. So you can either use said or you can either use told. Either of these things you can use there. Either of these two words you can use one word there. So when are you supposed to use said? If the sentence is in the positive structure, okay, or assertive forms. Now WH question. Suppose if the sentence is in WH, what are we supposed to use? You are not supposed to use a said. Okay, what are we supposed to use? We are supposed to use, see the following words here: asked, inquired, or questioned. Either of these three words you can use any one word there. Suppose if the sentence was WH. What is WH sentence? Any sentence that starts with what, where, when, how, etc. is called WH. See, for your convenience, I have given assertive sentence is there, WH sentence is there. Suppose if there was a sentence, what are you doing? What are you doing? Now, this is not a positive sentence. This is the WH form of sentence. Okay, so you can also notice a question mark here. However, in the indirect speech, you are not supposed to use a question mark. In the direct speech, there would be a question mark, but however, in the indirect speech, there will not be a question mark at all. So you need to remember this. Okay, what are you doing now? So what is a WH form? Any word that starts with a WH, what, where, how, even how is also WH, because HOW, how, has WH word there. Why, which, okay, when, whose, whom, so and on. Okay, so on. So it is called WH form of sentence. Suppose it is WH. See what is the phrase that I have used here? I have used as asked. So instead of said, I am using asked. Why? Because of the simple reason that the sentence is in WH format. Hence, we are supposed to use asked. We can also use, as I have already told you, inquired or questioned. Mohan asked, Mohan inquired, Mohan questioned. So these forms, you can feel free to use any one of the words there. Suppose the sentence is not assertive, neither it is WH. Suppose it is in interrogative forms. You may wonder that I have used these things again. Yes, it is used again because interrogative is also a form of question. But it is a short question where the answer is yes or no, isn't it? So what is the connecting word that you are using here? Asked, inquired, questioned, same that you had used in WH. You can also use as what? Interrogated. This is an extra word here. Mohan interrogated, Mohan asked, Mohan inquired, Mohan questioned. So words like that. Okay. There is another sub rule here. See, add a conjunction. We had seen sub rules 1, 2, 3. In that assertive WH in interrogative, there are two sub rules here. One is asked, inquired, questioned, interrogated, that you are supposed to use. Fine. The other is you are supposed to use if or whether instead of that. So where are you going to use? See, Raju said, since this is a simple sentence we have used said. Now, instead of that you should be using if when the sentence is interrogative. However, the sentence here, the example that I have taken here is assertive, hence I have the liberty of using that here. Fine. Suppose the sentence was in interrogative, then definitely I should not be using the word called that. Instead of that, I am supposed to use as if. So can you notice here if? Why have we used if instead of that? Because this is an interrogative sentence. Fine. How did you know that this is an interrogative sentence? Are you going to the party? Are you going? In my previous videos, I have done the videos on auxiliary verbs. So you can go there and see those videos. So there, any sentence that starts with an auxiliary is called interrogative sentence. However, there is also another hint that it will always end with a question mark. Okay, so this you need to understand. So since this is an interrogative sentence, we are not supposed to use that. We are supposed to use if. If it was not an interrogative sentence and suppose if it is not at all an interrogative sentence, what would be the word that we are going to use there? That. Okay, so this is how we need to understand. Now, the third rules that we are going to, we have seen assertive sentence, we have seen interrogative sentence, we have seen WH forms of questions. So I hope it is quite clear till now, because this is only very important in direct indirect speech. If you understand this, you will clearly understand the sentence. See, in our introduction class I had done, I have taken this example, isn't it? The teacher said, please keep the noise down. Now the teacher is not requesting, but though the tone is requesting, we are not used the word called request here. However, we have we have used the word told, or we can also use the word said. Okay, so why we have not used as requested? The teacher cannot request the student. You need to understand the relationship of one person with the another, and what are the rules that what are the behavior rules that we have to imply in certain context. So that also you should bear in mind. If there is grammar, you need not follow 100% grammar. Okay, here if you are supposed to use 100% grammar, the behavioral what we call respect would be low in terms when somebody tells the teacher requested the students. No, the teacher don't request the student, or the teacher doesn't request the student at all. However, the teacher generally orders, or she tells a normal kind of sentence, isn't it? So they have used as told. Okay, fine. So assertive is over, WH is over, interrogative is also over. Okay, now we are moving on to the imperative sentence. What is an imperative sentence? Again, for this you need to go to the types of sentence. There I have clearly made you familiar with different kinds of sentences. Okay. What is an imperative sentence? An imperative sentence is one where there is command, order, request, suggestion, all sorts of different emotional moods and nature there. Okay, so imperative sentence, wherever there is an imperative sentence, based on the mood of the speaker, we are supposed to use the conjunctions or the verbs, so called verbs here. What suppose if the person has commanded? Who commands? The commander in the army commands. Okay, commanded, command becomes commanded, order becomes ordered, request becomes requested. All these things, as you are noticing, everything becomes the comes in the past tense forms. Requested, plead becomes pleaded, suggest becomes suggested, advise becomes advised, etc. Everything is, since we are speaking about reported sentence or indirect sentence, everything should be in the past tense form. Okay, the words that we are using is in the past tense form. One more thing, if you are noticing here as well, these are the past tense forms, isn't it? For verbs we have three columns, v1, v2, v3. All these things I have narrated in my previous videos. You can go and have a look there, or you can thoroughly understand that. So I recommend you to go through those videos and come to this video, because directly if you are jumping into the concept, there are chances that you may skip the what we call deep understanding the concept. Okay, so better you have a look of all those things and then come to this video. It will be very easy for you to recognize the forms of sentences and the types of verbs that we are using for different contextual sentences. So imperative sentence we use different moods, and based on that moods we are supposed to use the imperative sentence. This is also one of the kind of imperative, but still it is not okay here. Since the word please is there, actually request should be used, but since the teacher is speaking to the students, definitely the norms of the class demands that the teacher never request the students. The teacher's job is to only tell the students or remind the students, and to make them keep silent. So though the tone is of requesting tone, you are not supposed to use request here. Actually this is an imperative sentence, but though this is an imperative, this is taken as a simple sentence just to uh, make things what we call adjusting to the norms of the behaviors there. Okay, so next is exclamatory sentence. So just if you write exclaim, that is okay. So all these things that we have spoke is of this part of the sentence. Okay, so that is the second rule speaks about the conjunction or the verb forms. Actually all these things, as you have noticed, are in the verb form sequence, but why we are using as a conjunction is because it is providing a link between one word to the another in the direct and indirect speech. Hence we have used it as a conjunction word there. Okay, so can we move on to the next rule? Yes, the third rule that we speaks that speaks of the direct and indirect speech is change of pronoun forms. Change of pronoun forms. What is pronoun? Pronoun is a word that is used instead of noun. Okay, so if there is a pronoun form in the direct speech, definitely you are supposed to convert that into indirect. See here, I is a pronoun that has been used. Now you are supposed to use I, and you are supposed to use I as he. Now this is very important. I'll come to that concept now. Masculine gender and feminine gender and neutral gender. These are the three gender that plays a vital role in pronoun forms. While you are converting from direct to indirect speech, pronoun forms has to be changed. See, all these, no matter direct and indirect speech, everything is in pronoun form itself. But though we are using pronoun in the direct speech, it has to be converted into indirect speech. Okay, it has to be converted into the pronoun of indirect speech. Okay, so let's see how it is converted. Suppose I, the word I appears in the direct speech, we are supposed to convert that as he or she. We are supposed to convert that as he or she. Suppose the word we appears in a sentence, we are supposed to convert that into they. We are supposed to convert it into they. Okay. Now, next, he or she is common again. Singular and plural. For second person singular, we are supposed to use, I hope you remember the substitution table, isn't it? So in that substitution table I had talked about, see, so persons is divided into singular and plural form. First person singular is I, second person plural is we. First person singular is I, first person plural is we, second person singular is you, second person singular is you again. Okay, so he, she, it is the third person singular, they is the third person plural. See, we are talking about direct and indirect speech, isn't it? So I'll make things easier for you. See, there is a trick. First person singular and the second person singular becomes the third person singular. I repeat, first person singular and the second person singular becomes the third person singular. However, first person plural and the second person plural becomes third person plural. That's it. First person plural and the second person plural becomes third person plural. Suppose the word I appears in a sentence. There was an I, isn't it? Mohan said, I am busy now. Mohan said that he. I becomes he. First person singular should be converted into third person singular. Why am I taking he instead of she? It is Mohan speaking. Mohan is a masculine gender, isn't it? Suppose Radha was speaking, then I would have taken the word she. I is used for both masculine and feminine. However, in the third person, we need to specify he and she, he or she. Hence, we need this classifications. Okay. So, Mohan is telling, I am busy now. So, what would be the sentence there? Mohan said that he. Okay, now the next part of the sentence I'll be telling you. I hope this is quite clear for you. I hope this has made things easier for you. So, first person singular I becomes he or she. First person plural becomes they. Second person singular becomes he or she. For the subject place and for the object place, it becomes him or her. Okay, so when we talk about active and passive voice, we need to understand that I write a letter is written by me. Okay, he writes a letter is written by him. He is always used in the subject place. Him writes a letter to he. No, we don't tell like that, isn't it? He is always used in the subject place and him is always used in the object place. She is always used in the subject place. Her is always used in the object place. I have done all these classes in my previous videos of pronoun forms. You can search for that video and you can see that. Now if I am discussing that, the video will become quite long. So I am just focusing on direct and indirect speech. Hope you understand that. So you is used for first person, second person singular. You is also used for second person plural, isn't it? So wherever he and she comes, we need to understand that it is a first person or second person singular. So he and she is used for first person plural and second person plural. Okay, so plural is P, singular is yes. So the first second person plural, we are supposed to use they for the subject place and them for the object place. They write a letter is written by them. Them is written by no, we don't speak like that, isn't it? They write a letter is written by them. You go to those videos of pronoun forms and see there, so you'll get to know the proper understanding of these places here. For the subject place, he or she. For the object place, him or her. And for the subject place they, and for the object place we are supposed to use them. Now if the word your appears in the sentence, now if it is singular it is his or her, if it is plural it is their. Okay, their. Next, us appears in a sentence, it becomes them. Our appears in a sentence, it becomes their. Me appears in a sentence, it becomes him or her. My appears in a sentence, it becomes his or her. Kindly don't by heart that, just see the, okay, just understand that first person singular becomes third person singular. Okay, I becomes he or she, you becomes he or she. So first person singular and the second person singular becomes third person singular. So there is a short trick here. First person plural becomes second person plural. Now there is also a short trick here as well. Okay, so this if you remember things will be very easy for you to understand. I hope this concept is quite clear, the change of pronoun forms. Now, as you can notice here, there is a repetition of words again and again. So, if you just understand the key words, so there you can understand the words. See, he or she is repeated, they is repeated again, then him or her is repeated here for me. Okay, then them is also repeated here for us. Okay, so there is ample amount of repetitions here. Just to sit down with a cool mind and try to understand all these things. Just see the video, which if you do not understand, just rewind the video and just look at the explanations there. I am sure that it would be easy for you to understand. Okay, even then if you don't understand, just go on. Okay, just go on seeing it from the point of view of substitution table. It will be very easy for you to understand. And even then also if you don't understand, just there is no other way, just go on by hearting these things. I recommend don't by heart, just try to understand the importance of the words there. So definitely if you apply your mind, definitely you will understand. Now the fourth rule is, I hope you know the rules here. First rule is remove the commas and inverted commas. Add a conjunction is the second rule there, or add a verb forms there. If it is a assertive sentence, we said you supposed to use said and told, said or told. WH questions, asked, inquired question. Interrogative question. Interrogative questions we are supposed to use asked, inquired, questioned or interrogated, or we can also use if or whether. Imperative sentence we can use as commanded, ordered, requested, suggested, pleaded, advised, etc. You have to understand the tone of the sentence. If it is in command, you should tell commanded. If it is in order, you are supposed to tell ordered. So if it is a request, you are supposed to tell as a request. How will you come to know that the sentence is either command or request or order? See, I have given you the example of imperative. Please, will you go to the party? Mohan requested. Here we are not supposed to use said. Why? Because the rules tells us that it is requested. Okay, since he is telling the word, using the word please here, you are supposed to use the word requested. Mohan requested to Suresh. What is the relationship with Mohan and Suresh? They are of the same age probably, and they are friends probably. Looking at the sentence, we can understand that yes, definitely we can use the word what we call please is used as requested. However, in the earlier example, I had told you that here the teacher and the student, the teacher is telling to the student, suppose we are not supposed to use requested, the teacher told, because the relationship of the teacher is much more bigger than the relationship of the student. Hence the teacher is elder to the students, isn't it? So the student also should maintain certain amount of behavior there. So asked, inquired, question. Okay, so this is for WH question. For interrogative, again we are supposed to ask inquired question. Imperative, commanded, ordered, requested, suggested. So here there is an example of request. Please is used there. So you have used requested. Now, okay, so this much we have understood from the rules there. Now we are moving on to the rules again. After imperative, it is exclamatory. Suppose there is an exclamatory mark or the sentence. Sometimes what happens is there would be an exclamation sentence, but still an exclamatory mark wouldn't have been used, isn't it? And in that situation also, you can use as exclaimed. Sudden expressions of things is called exclamatory sentence. Okay, so exclamation is called exclamatory sentence, or you can also use the term exclaimed. So the third rule tells you that change of pronoun forms. I becomes he or she, we becomes they, he becomes he or she. For the subject place, for the object place, okay, let me specify. If someone tells you thank you and you are reporting to another person, how would you reply? Thank he? No. He. Okay. Thank you becomes thanked him or thanked her. It would not be he or she. It would be him or her. I hope now it is quite clear. Thank you. You is singular form. Suppose they have used for plural form thank you, then it would be thanked them. Okay, so subject and object. Then yours becomes his or her, yours becomes their, ours becomes them, our become their, me becomes him or her, my becomes his or her. Okay, so the third rule we have finished. Now we are moving on to the fourth rule here. Now the change of tense forms. Simple present tense becomes simple past tense. Present continuous becomes past continuous. I have done all these videos in my previous videos. You can go to the tense forms and see there. Okay. Present perfect becomes past perfect. Present perfect continuous becomes past perfect continuous tense. In order to simplify it, I may tell you that am, is, and are. See, I have not typed that. I am making things easier for you. Just listen to it. Am, is, and are become am, is, and are becomes was and were. Okay, was and were. Do, does becomes did. Have, has becomes had. Auxiliary verbs, modal auxiliaries changes as will, would, shall, should, will becomes would, shall becomes should, can becomes could, may becomes might, must becomes ought or had to. You can also use the word had to. You can also use the word had to. This also you can use. So these are the change of tense forms here. Fine. Now, next is the fifth rule. Change of adverbs. Now becomes then, here becomes there, this becomes so or that, before becomes ago, these becomes those, today becomes that day, or today if you are speaking a today itself, this day. You can also tell it as this day. Then yesterday becomes the last day of the previous day, tomorrow becomes the next day of the day to come. Now, all these rules are there, fine. All the 5 rules are there, fine. Okay, but in certain situations, you have to be careful while using the rules. What is that? See, note. If the reported, okay, if reported speech, if reported speech expresses universal truth, habitual actions, historical, geographical, scientific facts, the tense of the verb in the indirect remains same. What are they telling? See, for the fourth rule, we have seen that the tense forms changes from present to past, isn't it? Okay, if it is a universal sentence, what is an universal sentence? If say for example, if I say the sky is blue, actually the sky doesn't have any color, it reflects the color. Okay, so if the sky is blue, if I tell you, it is an universal sentence. If you stand in India, it is blue. If you stand in America, it is blue. If you stand in Africa, it is blue. If you stand anywhere in the part of the world, it would be blue. If you tell that the sky was blue, then your sentence would be false. Okay, so universal truth. The birds are beautiful. This is another kind of universal sentence. So similar universal sentences should not be converted from present tense to past tense. Okay, God is great. Another type of universal sentence. You may agree or you may not disagree. You may agree or you may disagree. It doesn't matter. Okay, whether you believe God or you don't believe God, that doesn't matter here. Majority of the people throughout the world believe that God is great, isn't it? So you are not supposed to use as God was great. So this is an universal truth. Habitual action. Suppose somebody gets up every day at 4 o'clock and he studies. That has become his habit. So that habit you are not supposed to convert into past tense. Historical facts. Suppose Taj Mahal is there in India, isn't it? You are not supposed to use Taj Mahal was. Taj Mahal is a beautiful monument. Geographical facts. Delhi is the capital of India. You need not use the word Delhi was the capital of India because your sentence will be false. Still, the capital of India is Delhi. Suppose, someone makes the Agra as the capital of India, then you can use the word Delhi was the capital. So, contextually, Delhi is the capital of India even now, isn't it? So, geographically also, okay, you need to remember the sentence. Then scientific facts. If you throw something up, see in my class usually what I do is I throw the chalk piece up and it comes down. Practically students see that yes, the chalk piece has come down. There is a gravity power there. Okay, so this scientific fact cannot be told in past tense form. Okay, so still it is being applied, isn't it? So till the facts wherever the facts is applied, you are supposed to use that into present tense form. The tense of the verb in the indirect speech remains the same. Suppose it is universal truth, habitual action, historical, geographical, scientific facts. The tense of the verb from direct to indirect speech remains same. It would be, if you are used in present tense, it would be in present tense itself. It will not become in a past tense. Also, when the reporting verb is either in present tense or in future or in future, okay, there is no change in the tense of the verb. So there is no change in the tense of the verb. You need to remember that whichever form of the sentence is used in direct, if it comes under these categories, it should not be converted from present tense to past tense. Very simple. Okay. Now there are certain examples that we had discussed about the rules there. Mohan said, I am busy now. Mohan said that. See, Mohan said. Why we have used the word said? Because this is a simple sentence, assertive sentence. Hence we have used a said. Instead of said, you can also told. You can also write told. Okay, Mohan told or Mohan said. Mohan said that. Why we are using the word that? We have removed the commas and we have removed the inverted commas. Instead of that, we are supposed to use another word here, isn't it? We have used the word that. And initially, while you are learning grammar, you use that. Later on, that is also not required whenever you use the sentence there. Okay. So that is used in the initial forms, or you can also use that later on. That is not an issue at all. Mohan said that he was. I has become he because I pronoun is changed into he. first person singular is converted into third person singular. First person singular is converted into third person singular. I becomes he, am becomes was. Okay. Busy remains the same, now becomes then. So I have highlighted the changed words there. Inverted comma is not been used from direct to indirect sentence. In the indirect sentence, inverted comma is not to be used. WH questions. WH questions. Mohan said to Suresh, "What are you doing?" Now, who is the word you refer to, Suresh? Okay. Mohan asked. Why asked? Because this is an indirect sentence. WH question. So, asked is used instead of said. Mohan asked Suresh what are is converted into was. You is converted into he doing. What was he doing? Or what he was doing. You can also reverse the words here. What he was doing or what was he doing. Question mark is not supposed to be used. Okay. Interrogative sentence. Mohan said to Suresh, "Are you coming to the party or going to the party?" Now, any sentence that starts with an auxiliary and ends with a question mark is interrogative sentence. Yes or no questions. Mohan asked Suresh if. Why we have used the word if? Because this is an interrogative sentence. He was going to the party. Imperative sentence. Mohan said to Suresh, "Please, will you go to the party?" Mohan requested to Suresh. Okay, Suresh, please is become requested here. Would he go to the party? Will has become would. You has become he. Second person singular has become third person singular here. Go to the party remains same. See, already we have used would one auxiliaries here. No more, no need to change the another verb as the past tense form. Already there is a past tense here. No need to change another past tense there. Okay. Exclamatory sentence. Mohan said to Suresh, "Hooray, we have won the match." Mohan exclaimed to Suresh, they had won the match. Have has become had. We, third person plural, has become third person singular, has become plural. Okay, third person singular has become third person plural. I repeat, third person singular has become third person plural. Have has become had. Won the match is same. Remove the commas and inverted commas. You also say Mohan said, exclaimed to Suresh that they had won the match. So this also you can use. Without that also you may use the sentence. Okay, so this is all about your direct and indirect speech. Hope you understood the video. Direct and indirect speech is best understood with the rules, and I have tried to make you familiarize with certain rules. Direct and indirect speech seems to be easy when we understand the rules of direct and indirect speech. If you are not understood, see this video 2-3 times, and I am sure that you will understand the rules of direct and indirect speech. Thank you so much for listening. Have a nice time. Take care. Bye.